Hello and welcome to this digital photo video tutorial. I'm Phil Hall and I'm going to be showing you a couple of retouching techniques to really finish off your portrait shot. Flick through a lifestyle magazine or newspaper supplement and most of the shots and models will have been worked on heavily to achieve that perfect look. Now we're not going to go to that extreme here, but once you've got your shot in the bag, there's still a couple of little tricks we can do to make your shot really stand out. So we'll show you how to remove unwanted blemishes, gently lighten areas to produce a more even look, add punch to the eyes before just balancing the subject with the background. So if you'd like to open up alice.jpg, we can crack on. Okay, this is our final image here, and as you can see it's got a bit more impact than our start image. We've just managed to really lift it just through a couple of little techniques that I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to close this down and bring up our start image. I'm just going to maximise that, just zoom in a bit. So we've got a really nice shot here, nice eye contact with the model, but we can still just improve on that still. The first thing I want to do is, if I just zoom in, is just get rid of that little blemish there. We've all got blemishes, and we're lucky our model's only just got that little mark there that we can just remove quickly. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my toolbox, select the healing brush tool, and with a brush size of around about 35 pixels with a soft edge, I've already got mine selected, is just click or move your cursor next to that blemish, hold down Alt so your cursor changes, click on it to sample that area, and then click over your blemish and it's gone. So you can easily get rid of any unwanted marks on your model. Okay, I just now want to move on and just lighten this area here just a touch. So if I go and select the brush tool, and I want a brush size of around 80 pixels. I've got mine preset, but you can quickly and easily change your size of your brush just by using the left or right square brackets key. Okay, what I want to do to get my colour is take a sample colour just along here, which is the lighter tone. So again, I'm going to just move my cursor just below that slightly dark area, hold down Alt, and you'll see it changes to the eyedropper tool. If I click on it, it will take a sample of that colour, and that's now our foreground colour. So we don't want to brush in with 100% opacity, we want to have an opacity for around about 35%, so even though we are sort of adjusting the colour, some of that detail is still going to show through, so it's not a completely flat brush we're going to be using. So all I'm going to do is just gently and lightly run over that area there. As you can see, that's just lifted that nicely. Okay, moving down, I'm just going to try and just darken down this area of the lips here. It's quite easy to do. Again, we're going to use the brush tool, but this time I'm going to reduce the brush size to around about 30 pixels should do it. And I'm also just going to crank down the opacity to around about 25%. What I'm going to do now, again as before, is hold down Alt, decide where I'm going to take a sample from, round about here, looks good. Then all I'm going to do is just brush over this area here lightly. So just along there. Yeah, that's just brought that back nicely. So if I just click back, you can see that's made a more positive change, and that's looking a lot better. So if I just zoom out, so we've just made a couple of changes and already it's looking better. Right, the eye contact in this shot's really strong. We've got really striking eyes looking back at us. So I'm going to really make a point of that in the shot. So I'm going to zoom in again, and I'm just going to try and lift these eyes just a little bit more. They're looking good now, but we can really add some punch to them. So I'm going to select the dodge tool from the toolbox. If you can't see it, sometimes underneath the burn tool. So I've got my dodge tool selected. I want a brush size of around 70 pixels, and in the options bar I want to set my range to highlights and an exposure of around 10%. So we're only going to be really making a light change. If I just run over the eyes here, just like that, just a couple of sweeps. If I just click back, you see it's just lifted them very slightly, but it's looking better already. I'm now just going to play around with some curves. I'm going to make a selection and really lift them even more. So I'm going to go over to my toolbox, select the lasso tool. I'm going to make a very quick selection around this eye here. There we go. So we've got our marching ants running around there. I also want to make another selection of this other eye. So making sure I've got this icon ticked, my options bar. So add to selection. All I have to do is hold down shift, and then all I'm going to do is just run round this eye here as well. Then back, and then we've got our marching ants running around there as well. I want to feather this selection, so I want to go to refine edge, and at the moment my feather is too strong, so all I'm going to do is just bring it back, and as you can see, as I come back, round about 30 pixels is looking good. Hit OK. You'll see we've feathered our selection there. If you're using an earlier version of Photoshop, all you have to do is go to select feather and key in 30 pixels and you'll get the same results. Right, I now need to bring up the layers palette, so I'm going to hit F7 on my keyboard. We've just got that single background layer there, but if I go down to the bottom and click on the create new filler adjustment layer icon, from the drop down, select curves, then all I'm going to do is just pull out this line. It just lightens it nicely there. If I click back, preview, it's just giving it a bit more boost. If I was to do an S curve, it'd probably be a bit too dark, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. Hit OK, and we've got our adjustment layer there, so I can hide that. You can see the changes that's made. So I'm going to click back on my background layer. Okay, as this eye here on the left is the main point of focus, I'm going to just add a bit more definition by just sharpening it a touch. So all I'm going to do is make another selection. So using my lasso tool, just make another quick selection around there. Refine edge. Feather at 30 pixels again. Hit OK. I'm leaving this eye alone because as you can see, because of the shallow depth of field we've got, it's out of focus anyway. So we just want to concentrate on this eye here with our sharpening. So what I'm going to do now is go to filter, sharpen and unsharp mask. Okay, so this is the area that we're going to be sharpening. If I increase the slider, you can see if we go too far, it starts to pixelate and doesn't look that nice at all. It looks very unnatural. Again, so I'm just going to drag the amount back down to around about 100% there. Again, with the radius, if I increase that, it starts to again look not that nice. So basically with sharpening, the key is to be quite restrained with it. You don't want to go over the top. I'm going to leave the threshold at 0. If I go any further, it only selects or concentrates on sharpening a very small amount. So I'm keep the threshold on 0. So once I've done that, I'm going to hit OK, hit Ctrl D to get rid of my marching ants. I'm going to zoom out now. So if I compare that to what we started with, those little changes we've made have made a massive impact on the shot. But I just want to finish that off just by leveling up the face here and then just darkening down the background as well. So I've got my background layer selected, and with my lasso, I'm just going to make a quick selection of the face there. I'm going to refine edge again. This time I'm going to increase the feather to around about 120 pixels, I reckon. Yeah, that should do. Hit OK. We've gone for a bigger feather there, just for because it's a larger area, you want a smoother graduation between the two. So I'm going to go back over to my background layer, click on the create new filler adjustment layer icon, and then choose levels. What I'm going to do with this is just bring my right hand arrow in towards the histogram. You can see that just lightens that nicely. Hit OK. I'm going to click back on my background layer, and I'm just going to darken this surrounding background down. So again, I'm making another rough selection of the face. A bit wobbly there, I'm not going to worry about that. Refine edge again, feather 120 pixels, but this time, because I want to affect this outside area, I want to go to select, inverse, and we've now got marching ants running around the outside there. So that means this area is going to remain unaffected It's just going to be this outside area here that any changes are going to be applied. So again, create new filler adjustment layer, click on it, and levels. This time I'm not going to worry about this right hand arrow, so that's just going to lighten it. All I'm going to do is concentrate on the mid-tones, just drag that towards the right until we get to around about 0.64. If I click back there, it's made a massive difference. It's really boosted that shot. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to get rid of my layers palette. And there you go, our retouch picture. If I just click back to how our start image looked, those series of small changes we've made have made a massive impact to our shot and really just lifted it up nicely. So the key is not to go over the top and make your subject look too unnatural. Subtlety is the key here. So use your techniques sparingly and you'll give your portraits a real edge. So try these techniques on your own portraits and see how you get on. They really do work. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you again next month. Cheers!